Morning. Thank you, sir. Lucille, we're ready? Come on. It's 9:30 already, please. Efficiency. Oh, my God, look at that. Look at the camera. Let's see.
It's 19.
You good, Mark?
Good.
Good morning, Chair.
Good morning, Lucille. Are we ready?
We are.
Okay. So I'd like to call to order the joint meeting of the New York City Transit, Metro North Railroad, Long Island Railroad, and Bridges and Tunnels Committee to discuss operations across the agencies. Let's hear from our public speakers.
Is the
Oh,
announcement?
we need the public safety announcement?
Yeah.
Sorry, we need the public safety announcement.
Your safety is of the foremost importance to the MTA. Therefore, we ask that you listen and adhere to the following instructions. If you witness an emergency, notify emergency personnel in the room and call 911 immediately. Please follow any audible instructions provided through the public address system or visually on screens in the event of an emergency. If an alarm sounds, wait for a public address announcement and follow instructions. If told to go to another floor or to evacuate the building, leave all unessential items behind and use stairwell A just across the main hallway or stairwell B down the hallway past the elevators. If you have a mobility disability or cannot self-evacuate, please proceed to stairwell D or E for assistance by MTA staff or emergency personnel. An automated external defibrillator, AED, for use by trained personnel is in the main hallway just past the elevators. If you need assistance during an evacuation, please tell an MTA staff member or emergency personnel. Thank you and have a safe day.
Thank you. We'll now hear from our public speakers.
Good morning. We have 19 members of the public registered to speak today. As a reminder, we ask that all public speakers adhere to the MTA rules of conduct and decorum, including speaking on topic. I would also like to remind our public speakers that in the interest of time and fairness to all, we limit everyone to 2 minutes. Please be aware that there will be a warning beep to remind you that you have 30 seconds to conclude your remarks. Our first speaker today will be Giancarlo Padula, followed by Henry May.
I was further back today. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Padula. I am a supervisor with Educational Vision Services from New York City Public Schools. I'm also a member of the Advisory Committee for Transit Accessibility. Short, sweet, to the point. My wish list for Accessoride. 3 things. A more equitable process for taxi reimbursements. We need something that's a little bit more efficient. 30 to 60 days for reimbursement would be reasonable. 90 days is not very reasonable. Also, intra-borough taxis, we've been asking for this for a long time. Borough lines are artificial barriers. Even if you picked an arbitrary cap, like $80 or $90 or $70, whatever it is, excluding transit hub trips, of course, but that would be at least more fair and give us greater access to a bigger portion of our city. E-Hail, phase 3, it's been almost a year, it's working great. And it was actually one of the few times that this community was heard immediately, and we had an immediate result. And it, like I said, it's working great. We need to roll it out to more people who need it, and a third bucket needs to be considered for those people that have demonstrated need. Finally, we're tracking a 20-minute window, but when are we going to implement a 20-minute window? In order for paratransit to be equitable and meaningful and usable to sustain gainful employment in this city, 30 minutes is unreasonable. 20 is at least a step in the right direction. There's nowhere on this planet we're 30 minutes late. Let me say that again. There's nowhere on this planet where 30 minutes late is acceptable, except for paratransit. And that's the first, I think, issue that needs to be addressed. My name is John Padula. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Henry May, followed by Kara Girl.
Hello, everyone. My name is Henry May, Research and Advocacy Intern at the Permanent Citizens Advisory Committee to the MTA, PCAC. Like many New Yorkers, I depend on subways and buses, the latter of which I want to focus on today. So many people rely on the humble bus to get to where they need to go, especially in subway deserts. Yet the average speed of MTA buses in 2024, excluding express routes, was 7.8 miles per hour. Select bus service averaged only slightly better at 9.2. Some recent proposals are on the table, including a 34th Street busway, which we strongly support, and a redesigned 5th Avenue, which unfortunately does not go far enough to meaningfully speed up buses. Although the MTA's fleet is fully ADA compliant on paper, in practice, bus riders with mobility needs face challenges due to bus stops being blocked and the absence of level boarding. In contrast, other cities have implemented effective bus rapid transit systems, which take into account the urban environment and larger mass transit network. It's time for New York City to do the same. PCAC will soon release a report which lays out how a network of high-quality bus rapid transit can increase connectivity while decreasing commute times and car dependency across the boroughs. New Yorkers need BRT that is fast, frequent, reliable, accessible, and easy to use. We are calling on the MTA and City DOT to work closely on installing protected center-running bus lanes, a standard design for international BRT systems, increasing transit signal priority installation, building accessible BRT stations with level boarding, a cohesive wayfinding design for BRT, piloting a fleet with left-hand doors to increase the flexibility of BRT implementation. We want to note that we need to look no farther than Cleveland's RTA for their BRT, and enabling all-door boarding on all MTA buses while piloting the installation of fare gates and platform screen doors for BRT stations to reduce fare evasion. Improving coordination between the MTA and DOT will allow BRT to be done right for the over 2 million riders who rely on buses every day. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Kara Girl, followed by Evangeline Byers.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kara Girl, Planning and Advocacy Manager at the Permanent Citizens Advisory Committee to the MTA, PCAC. The MTA's announcement that MetroCard sales will end later this year marks a major milestone as our city and region progress toward a modern, integrated fare payment system. With 85% of full fare riders and more than half of reduced fare riders using Omni, it's clear that many riders are voting with their taps and growing accustomed to the new system. But we can't ignore recent complaints from riders who are dealing with extra charges, late charges, and customer service complaints, as reported by Jose Martinez in the city. Of course, we hope it's true that riders aren't actually being overcharged, but are instead seeing a delay coming hours or days after tapping. But riders need to be able to trust Omni before the MetroCard is fully phased out. And these bumps in the road are unfortunately making the transition more painful than it should be. We in this room understand that Omni is a common sense upgrade that will make riding transit easier and more affordable. But despite outreach efforts, average riders are concerned about the transition, whether about being overcharged, data privacy, or ensuring that they can still pay with cash. At this time of transition, it's more important than ever to use Omni's potential to create new fare discounts that can put money and time back in riders' pockets. You've heard about our Rider First Fare Agenda, a package of fare discounts and new ticket deals to make transit more affordable and attractive. Omni and its integration with the Train Time app will make discounts between the Long Island Railroad, Metro North, and subways and buses more feasible, especially if riders are automatically charged the best fare available to them. Change isn't easy, particularly when riders have grown so used to swiping. Building trust with riders also isn't easy, and it's harder to rebuild it after a negative experience when finances are involved. We urge you to over-communicate with the public about the transition to Omni, remain responsive when riders complain, and ensure that double charges are being investigated and refunded quickly when appropriate. Coupled with creative fare discounts, we're confident that riders will eventually embrace Omni in time for the MetroCard's phase-out. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Evangeline Byers, followed by Daylight Peace. Evangeline Byers. Our next speaker is Daylight Peace, followed by David Kupferberg.
I'm here on behalf of the Fair Ain't Fair campaign to call out again that the rhetoric that this institution is pushing about fare evasion is extremely dangerous to so many people in this city who cannot afford the fare. That you're investing billions of dollars into preventing people from being able to access the train that they cannot afford to pay in a city where 26% of people live in poverty. That this is not something of creating a culture of fair compliance. You're actively criminalizing people who cannot afford to travel from work, potentially to doctor's appointments, potentially to see their kids, potentially to see their family and friends. So in terms of the rhetoric that is being pushed and the facts that are being recognized, I urge you to call into clarity the statistics that reflect what people are actually living through in this city. And recognizing that in 2023, 24% of adult New Yorkers and 26% of children were living in poverty. That's 2 million people total, 1 in 4 people. So in terms of a public service, a public benefit that this institution is responsible for, think about 1 in 4 people that you interact with in this city. Then we have the MTA's highest salary in 2023 being $531,659. The average salary being close to $100,000. So if the issue is that you're out of touch with the majority of New Yorkers or the people in this city who are struggling to afford life in general, but then your solution is to criminalize them for not being able to afford the fare, that it just becomes clear that the rhetoric that this institution is pushing and the investments and the implementations that you're putting forth are to actively perpetuate a war on poor people in this city. And then you look at the racial disparities in poverty. 24.8% of Hispanic people and 21.7% of Black people live in poverty, compared to 11.5% of white people. So when we call it a
Thank you
war on
for your
poverty, we
comment.
recognize that it's a war on Black people.
Thank you for your comment. Our next speaker is David Kupferberg, followed by Yolanda Allen.
Effective June 29th, 2025, the Q23 would be rerouted in East Elmhurst to operate via 108th Street and would operate all times. The caveat is that the Q23 would no longer serve the 7 train. The new Q14 would instead serve the 7 train at the 103rd Street Corona Plaza station. But what about the Q23 riders south of 43rd Avenue and along Ditmars Boulevard? Having the Q23 continue to serve the 7 train, but via the 111th Street station should have been a no-brainer. But the MTA, in their infinite wisdom, believes that straighter route paths are faster. However, passengers and potential passengers would have to walk further to reach the 7 train, increasing passenger travel time. This would significantly increase the chance of a misconnection. For infrequent service, a misconnection could also discourage transit usage. To have the Q23 serve the 111th Street station would have a minimal increase in operating costs, but gain many riders. One of the routes to be retired, the QM3, currently operates between Douglaston and Midtown Manhattan via Bayside, Auburndale, Murray Hill, and Flushing. The claim made by the service planners is that the QM3 has low ridership and the LIRR Port Washington branch is nearby. So why not boost ridership and not duplicate the LIRR by operating the QM3 to Midtown Manhattan, to downtown Manhattan, via 34th Street and 1st Avenue instead? When I suggested this over a year ago at an outreach event, I was rebuffed by a service planner. The service planner said that doing this would, quote, anger existing riders, unquote. This was an invalid excuse because existing QM3 riders were already angered that the service would be discontinued. The QM3 should serve downtown Manhattan, stopping at 34th Street and 1st Avenue, effective June 29th, 2025, for a 1-year probationary period. What do you think? I wait for your reply. There should also be more free transfers. We also wait for your reply for third.
Thank you for your comment. Our next speaker is Yolanda Allen, followed by Iris Kelly.
Good morning. My name is Yolanda Aline, and I always complain about Stress a Ride. But today, I'm going to give Stress a Ride some props with the eHail program. And this is the first time I can give it props. The eHail program, one of the best programs instituted by Stress a Ride. And the sad part about it, it doesn't have enough people, and it makes people independent, like you go take a subway or take a bus. And they need to increase that part of Stress a Ride, because people become a lot more independent and a lot more dependent of getting from point A to point B without having the stress that is known on the street about Stress a Ride, because it's ridiculous the way that system is worked, Stress a Ride system work. But the eHail program is one of the beneficial part of Stress a Ride. We need to do a lot better with that program than the rest, when you have 30 minutes to wait and you get to your appointment late and all the other nonsense that Stress a Ride have done to other people. People refuse to take it and refusing to go to doctor. But I must say, please, please increase the benefit of the eHail program so that a lot more people can use it and become a lot more independent than using those blue and white that don't have shocks and all the other nonsense, the broker service that the drivers don't respect people while they're driving and everything else. Thank you so much.
Our next speaker is Iris Kelly, followed by Charlton D'Souza.
Hello, it's Iris Kelly. I sent you out a report card last month. Did you guys look at it, or sweep it underneath the rug and not pay attention to it? It's very important, because it shows you in January you did a very excellent job, where it should be for the Brooklyn trains, for the Long Island Railroad. And then by February, when Grand Central came into town, you took everything away from us, which is not right. And then how about this? On Monday nights, trains going through Atlantic, you have one at 10:10, but yet the next night is 10:04. 6 minutes cut off. If I had worked Monday, that would be perfect connection between trains. But no, the 10:04, you cut time from that train coming into Manhattan, 10:04, and then Brooklyn train leaving at 10:04. That is not right. They need to have them lined up together with the 10:04 connections, or it gives that time in between. We'll be able to connect the train to the other side between, because on track 11-12, it's too far away. And I caught you guys put trains on track 3 for Brooklyn on weeknights. And you should put it on everyone, not all some. I know the 548 goes on night time goes on Brooklyn track 3. That should be the same thing for another ones on that night, not just that one alone. I go into Long Island, I can tell when I go with different train connections. I can hear it in the back of what's going on. You need better connection points, more to the trains, and everything you saw in that report card. If you pay attention to it, what you did in January was the best you did, but now you took it disgraceful. It's an F+, goes flowing straight down unless you get that thing fixed. You go back up again. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Charlton D'Souza, followed by Miriam Fisher.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Charlton D'Souza. I'm the president of Passengers United. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. So why is it so important to talk about the Queens bus redesign? Because today in the Finance Committee meeting, you guys are going to be voting on approving the additional bus transfers for the Queens bus redesign. We feel that it's very important to make sure all the routes are included in the proposal that we sent you last month and we gave to you in person. And those proposals for the free transfers can be found on our website at passengersunited.org. But again, nobody should have to pay an extra fare as a result of the Queens bus redesign. And even routes now that are in 2-fare zones should also be included in that. Being that if you work at Long Island Jewish Hospital and you live in Far Rockaway, you really should be able to do that trip in one bus fare. Like the Queensboro president says, you could take a trip from New York City to Miami. Well, guess what? It's going to be even the same time from LIJ Hospital to Far Rockaway, because that's how the way the bus routes, they still have not fixed that in the Queens bus redesign. And you need true equity. So really, the Q27 should be extended to Merrick Boulevard. I think by extending the 27 to Merrick, you would help people going to Green Acres Mall and stuff like that. And then as far as the LIRR monthly tickets on paper, guys, come on, what are y'all doing? We've gotten complaints that the LIRR tickets are too small, are too big to fold inside a wallet. And the other issue with MetroCard, you'll have to fix the MetroCard vending machines. It's not fair to people on Nice Bus and Beeline Bus. Again, we hope to talk more about the Queens Bus redesign soon. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Miriam Fisher, followed by Alita Dupree.
Good morning. Am I audible?
Hear you.
Okay, thank you. To the MTA, sign the elevator maintenance case. It's 8 years old. The MTA Transit President Critchlow wrote an op-ed piece in AM New York on May 12th, celebrating that subways are running on time. I counted the word maintenance 4 times, but no mention of elevator maintenance at all. Maintenance is what people are asking for reliability. Bus stops. Applaud the steps for better bus service, but not mentioned is better bus stops, shelter from bad weather, waiting for the bus in the snow, 90-degree heat, and seats, 4 times. There's a pilot program at West 4th Street Subway, removing the big wooden seats, substituting leaning benches. Disability advocates have already protested. Bars don't serve the disabled, seniors, pregnant women, kids, and I don't know if this will be visible. A photo, not quite holding it right, of somebody in the subway leaning against a seat, an older woman with a cane, and the title is She's Not Digging It. It's not helping people with disabilities. Announcements of elevator outages, visual and auditory in the subway car, on the platform, on digital displays of the next train. Washington, D.C. has them. The technology is there. This is from DC, elevator outage. It looks just like the digital signs we see about the next train. It's possible, we can do it, and so people don't get
Thank
stranded.
you for your comment. Thank you. Our next speaker is Alita Dupree, followed by Carl Pereira.
Thank you. Good morning to Chair. Alita Dupree, for the record, she and her with Team Folds. How about some 34th Street, 8th Avenue station? The very first station I used on public transportation anywhere in early 1970. Ridership in our 3 reports is looking good. Metro North is, I think, 81%, and the Long Island Railroad is around 89%. Not seeing a clear number for the subway, but I'm figuring that the subway's around 80%. And so how do we bring more people back to these storied institutions that help people to get around and enjoy all that we have to offer in New York? I'm looking for ways myself to use more of these systems, especially with commuter rail. And state of good repair is absolutely essential to continue working on our electrical infrastructure. I mentioned a previous meeting about a substation fire, and there was a fire that happened on BART about a week ago. And these things are very important to keep up with. And fares, well, I mean, it's not easy, but I look forward to your discussion about fares. And continue the work with Omni and the new fare gates. I'm using new fare gates on BART, so I think we can do that here too, because I do think they're helping on BART, so I think they're going to help here too. And I continue to advocate for the renewable energy subway that we want to build toward. There's all kinds of things I can say, but I can only share things as I know them. We must always remember that the subway is a system that is legendary and stately. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Jason Anthony, followed by Christopher Greif.
Good morning, Lucille. Good morning, Haida, Mark, Rob, Justin, Demetrius, and the rest of the MTA Super Subcommittee. Jason Anthony, the Transit Guru. We know that May is Mental Health Awareness Month. I had the pleasure this past Thursday to join Long Island Railroad President Rob Free of greeting passengers on the first cannonball of this season. Let's say this. It was a wonderful experience of being in Penn Station greeting passengers. And let's say not even those across the Hudson does it. And for those critics that criticizes the Long Island Railroad, I'll say Ron Free is a very good person to ask questions because he will answer to it on the spot. But I have seen comments on social media requesting your presence, Rob Free, on Port Washington. So the Port Washington branch people will love your presence there. And to Demetrius, I haven't forgotten about you because I use the subway every single day. So I haven't abandoned you. So my place has a special heart in my, and my birthday's a couple
Thank
of
you
weeks
so
away.
much
So I'll
for
see
your
you guys.
comment. Thank you. Our next speaker is Christopher Greif, followed by Jack Nierenberg.
Good morning, everyone. And I hope everyone's doing well. One thing I just want to add, because we have the two offices here. As you know, June 6th and 7th is the Parade of Trains. And I know some of us do love that trains. But we do need NYPD and MTA police presence along the Brighton line from Kings Highway to Ocean Parkway. I know a lot of people like to take pictures, but they got to remember the Q train, which I live on, and everybody agrees with me, we want to make sure the train is running fine and safe. But we got to remember that passengers who uses it, we need to make sure the queue is running on time and on close to schedule. So we hope that, we know Transit 34 does cover it, but we hope to see NYPD and MTA police please be there at all the stations to make sure the safety of our trains are running on a closer schedule. And people got to understand, the yellow line is not for dancing or going over the track. The trains have to move. We want the parade of trains to run. Let kids have fun, seniors and people with disability to have fun. Also, just to be clear that as we are dealing with a lot of working with the NYPD and MTA police, we need to always, if we see something, say something. And I do want to thank every president here, because I know I'm short on time. Thank you for always what you've been doing so far for the half of the year. Let's continue working on more accessibility for the future, which we are. And hope everyone will please always remember that congestion pricing is important for seniors and people with disability who uses Access-a-Ride, who uses the buses and subways. Let's remember that accessibility needs to be poured into there, which MTA has doing that. But we got to remember, our elected officials need to remember, this is the future, not going backwards. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jack Nierenberg, followed by Deborah Greif.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jack Nierenberg. I'm the Vice President of Passengers United. First of all, I did want to mention, I remember hearing Carl Pereira on the list, and I think he might have been skipped over, so that might be useful to note. Secondly, I do really appreciate the swift action by the Chief Financial Officer. This I'm all going to say at the Finance Committee meeting and the full board meeting, but I think it's incredibly important for all you to know as well. And while I do appreciate that, that being said, I fear that there's a disconnect in the language of the proposal in the staff summary for the additional free transfers for the Queens Bus Network redesign, that there seems to be a disconnect in what the actual purpose of these free transfers is. It says promotional, and by promotional, do they mean promoting the people to use the buses because of the bus network redesign? Or does it mean satisfying the needs of those who would have to pay an additional fare and not have to pay that additional fare because of the changes that were made? And I remember last month I was very clear that that's the issue. That's the reason why this has to be done. So I encourage the Finance Committee and all of you who are going to be voting on this later to why not just make this permanent? It has so many benefits that the initial list, and I'm unfortunately not confident that the MTA alone would be ensuring that the list that I gave to the Chief Financial Officer last month will be satisfied in full, because that's what needs to be satisfied in order to maintain Title VI compliance. Again, I'm going to be mentioning all of this, and I really encourage the conversation to be continued. I'm here, I'm available, and let's get this worked out, because if the MTA is going to be putting in more additional free transfers, it has to be done properly. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Deborah Greif.
Good morning, everyone. As before, I'm Deborah Greif, and there's a few things I want to say this morning. First of all, I thank the police for being there and the guards, that when I have to go in and out of the gates, I'm not being pushed and shoved and knocked down to the ground because somebody wants to evade the fare and use me as the person and thank me when I didn't let them in. I would like to see more officers around, even more, because I don't like getting hurt. The person who brought up about the seat where you lean, someone who has sciatic and has to use a mobility device, the benches are not comfortable. They hurt. I'm not blaming you. It's not meant to be comfortable. I don't mind the leaning ones, because when I lean on it, it has taken pressure off my lower back where my hip blocks with sciatic, so I don't have to worry about falling down to the ground or locking and then have to call the EMS. The last thing I want to say is, of course, I don't want to see fare increases and the fare programs, but I wish the advocates would get this correct. The MTA did not set it up. It was set up as HRA through Bill de Blasio, who forgot to give people who turned 65 a discount for Accessoride. I would love to see you all go to the city council and to the mayor and complain, because it's an HRA program. It is not an MTA program. And I wish you would all get it right, because it's very frustrating. You're blaming the wrong people. Thank you.
Chair, at this time, we have reached the allotted time for this public comment session. If you are a remote speaker participating on Zoom, please stand by and wait for further instructions from our moderator. Thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you to all our public speakers. We'll now move on with our mega meeting, I guess, a mega committee. Demetrius, can you lead the discussion with the New York City Transit report, please?
Sure thing. So at Transit, we are hard at work preparing for the summer. But we have a lot of really good things going on, some cool stuff that has been happening, and really grateful for the team and all that they've been doing thus far. So listen, Transit has always been about state of good repair. From when I first took over as president, I said there were going to be two priorities. One is safety, the other is improving our performance. And, I think we have been getting it right in a large scale. If we talk about the projects that we were done, restoring to the Rockaways, just an amazing job for the team to keep the system in tip-top shape, and making sure that this place is good for not just our customers, but for our employees as well. I was really excited to celebrate the on-time and on-budget conclusion of our Rockaways rehabilitation project with Chair Lieber and Governor Hochul earlier this month. We had made emergency repairs to this location in the past after Sandy, but there still was work that was necessary to be done, and so they took the time to rebuild portions of the line, including the critical Hamels Y on the Rockaways Viaduct and components on the South Channel Bridge. Now, Rockaway riders will benefit from more resilient and more reliable service for decades to come. As we restored service, I was especially proud of the way our team supported roughly 10,000 daily riders during the 17-week outage. Between extensive outreach, communication efforts, robust shuttle, express bus service, the shuttle train, which operated at 99% performance, we did everything we could to keep the Rockaways moving during the outage. I have to give a special shout out to the teams that worked out there in the field, our hourly employees, our bus operators, our train operators, our station agents, our supervisors, our management team, the teams that worked hand in hand to make sure that this project went down, and we recognize the folks who actually had a hand in making it go successful. Investing in platform safety, we're making a big investment in safety. I actually said it wrong earlier. My priorities have been improving safety and performance. Those are the reality. But one of the areas that we've been doing this in is in the platform side. We're supporting our platform barrier initiative. New capital funding will allow us to reach our goal of installing these stainless steel barriers at 150 stations by the end of the year. Recently, I had the chance to visit Tiffany's shop with Chair LIRR to see the incredible work of our skilled metal workers to do the construction on these barriers. We've heard from customers and employees that these new barriers give them an added peace of mind on a crowded platform. So, due to our commitment, recently our teams have installed these barriers at 46th Street, on the M and R lines, Wall Street on the 2 and 3 lines, and Canal Street on the J and Z lines. Next to coming up soon, we'll be installing barriers at 125th Street on the 2 and 3, Parson and Archers on the E and J, and 23rd Street on the 6th. It is initiatives like our platform barriers that are indicative of the broader effort to bring more capital work in-house here at Transit, to do the work with our teams, our specialized, skilled teams that we have on our workforce right now. They're an incredible workforce, and that effort, those efforts that they're doing, is clearly seen as part of this 2025 to 2029 capital plan. So I have to give also a special thanks to the team that's standing in the back over there. We have been partners with NYPD for as long as this has become an institution. The MTA and NYPD have worked hand in hand to make sure that this place is safe. The Special Operations Division within the Transit Bureau takes some of the most challenging assignments, the initiatives that most people don't even know are going on in our transit system, and they protect our people, both uniformed and not uniformed. They work tirelessly to keep our employees and our customers safe every single day. So today, we're joined by members of the Special Operations Division, and I'd ask everyone at this table and in this room to recognize these folks for the work that they do on a daily basis. Thank you so much for what you do. Now, I want to end this month by celebrating what's been a phenomenal start to 2025 for subway service. You've heard about our commitment to service here at Transit and at Subways. The team has taken this mission and run with it. You'll hear more from Bill on April's performance, but I just wanted to remark on a few noteworthy accomplishments. Overall on-time performance in March and April has been at generational highs. Every month in 2025 has been better than the same month last year. Because of the hard work of the Department of Subways, big performance gains have been unlocked on several lines. On the 1 and the J, smart changes on how we schedule work and how we dispatch trains have seen big gains. On-time performance this year is up by 10.4 points on the 6 and 6 points on the J, which is now over 90% on-time performance. Numerous lines in the B division have seen performance gains as well, with 8.3 increase in D performance and other notable improvements. This is what we can approve. This is what we can achieve when folks work together, when the teams are focused on performance, from the performance analysis unit to the maintenance folks to those in service delivery, each of the teams working to make sure that we are targeting and providing better quality service for our customers. Before I move on, I have to make also an acknowledgement to the team who's done a fantastic job. You know, we talk about elevators and the efforts that we do. We have a total of 393 elevators in our system, 50 of which are privately owned. And we talk about our investment on the current state of elevators and what we're doing to be able to make this system more accessible to folks. 33 of those elevators are under capital rehabilitation. 33, which leaves 360. Of those 360 elevators, only 5 are out right now. That is a commitment to performance. That is a commitment to making sure that this system is available for our customers. The fact that we are, on average, achieving 98% availability for our elevators is a testament to the fact that these teams are engaged. One other thing I just want to Rachel's efforts and the amount of folks that she's taken on to be able to provide the work for our customers has been, you know, just amazing. We talk about 96% of our Access to Ride customers make it to their destination or get to their destination within 30 minutes. But 91% are within 20. So over 90% of the time, we are delivering customers on a regular basis. This MTA is not the MTA that does not take consideration what our customers say, what our customers feel, and we are committed to performance, and we are committed to delivering upon our performance goals for our customers. With that, I will turn it over to Bill, who's somewhere around here. There he goes, over there.
Bill, why don't you come to the table? Why did they put you over there? And Chris, why did they put you guys over there? Anyway, here I am, causing trouble. Go ahead.
Great, thanks, Demetrius. And Hada, happy to make my remarks from the second table. As Demetrius said, the Subways team has been delivering outstanding performance, and I'd really like to thank them for their ongoing dedication and commitment to providing excellent service. When I started in this role, I challenged the team to get creative, to look at service differently, and to find new ways to improve performance, and they've exceeded my expectations. In April, we achieved 84.5% weekday on-time performance, which was over a point better than April of last year. So far, May is shaping up to being even better. Weekend on-time performance continues to be very strong at 86.4%, well above our goal. The way we're getting here is by using data and analysis to really target the drivers of performance. The line managers are looking at information at a granular level to understand which specific trips, which times of day, which segments of lines are problematic, and they're attacking those issues. They're working together with our performance analysis unit and our partners in operations planning to come up with new strategies and pilots in order to produce better results. Demetrius talked about the pilots on the 1 and the J that are paying off. We've also had really good results on the 6, and we're going to continue working through those pilots across the system. You know, this effort is paying off, but we have a long way to go, so we're going to continue working on that. With that, I'll turn it over to Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Good morning, committee. Good to be sitting here in a new chair this month for you all as your acting senior vice president for buses. So today, I'll go over our bus performance and highlight a couple areas here. Overall, our performance was stable versus previous month with service delivery at 96.2%, which was a slight decrease from last month. Customer journey time, 72.8, which is a little bit above from last month, and average bus speed at 8.1 miles per hour. Yesterday, on May 27th, we, in partnership with the DOT, launched new ACE enforcement on 3 additional routes, the M100, the M42, and the BX5. And this is in addition to the routes we launched in April. So ACE enforcement continues to grow with a 60-day warning period on these new routes, and we'll be doing community outreach and promoting driver awareness during this time to ensure people understand what ACE is all about on our bus lanes. In addition, this summer we'll be launching the Queens Bus Network redesign, Phase 1 coming up on June 29th. We are actively encouraging customers to visit the Queens Bus Network redesign website at mta.info/queensbus. This website is a great tool to look at what the new service changes will be on the June 29th, as well as August 31st. And there's a interactive lookup tool so you can see what the new travel pattern will look like for your origin and destination. And lastly, as Demetrius noted, we successfully restored Rockaway service 2 Mondays ago, and the bus team was able to provide 17 weeks of continuous 24/7 shuttle throughout the winter, achieving 99% on-time performance on that shuttle, which was quite amazing. So we're very proud of that. Special thanks to our team, Deputy General Manager Ashish Jacob, General Manager Pat Bambury, Chief Transportation Officer Don Healy, Vice President Butch Miller, and Vice President Danny Cardoza for all of their work in ensuring a reliable shuttle. And with that, I'll pass it over to our colleague, Rachel Cohen.
Good morning. Reporting from the second table. Thank you all. Paratransit had another strong performance month in April, really continuing with the trends that we've seen year to date in 2025. As mentioned by Demetrius, on-time performance continues to be high, and we've seen steady rates in terms of our no-shows, our call center performance, and all of this together is leading to continued customer satisfaction above 80%, which we're really thrilled to see. We're doing all of this as we continue to serve record ridership. Our ridership continues to be up 20% year over year. We're past pre-COVID levels. And I want to call out in particular our broker service partners, whose year over year performance has just improved tremendously and really continues to carry our service forward. So all metrics are generally steady from March to April, and our real focus has been on how do we continue to serve with this incredible level of reliability and performance, our growing level of ridership. And I just want to thank the entire paratransit team in our office in Long Island City and all of our contractor partners across the city who are providing this incredible service day after day. And I'm going to hand it off to our colleague, Bernard Jackson, to talk a little bit more about ridership across New York City Transit.
Well, thank you, Rachel, and I'm dialing in from the second row as well. Yes. Good early afternoon, Madam Chair, Directors, President Critchlow. I'm Bernard Jackson, the new Chief Operations Officer here at New York City Transit. So what does all this mean? You heard from my colleagues. Let's talk about ridership and the gains that we've been able to achieve as it relates to that. Paid weekday subway ridership set new post-pandemic highs of an average of 4.1 million weekday riders. This is a 10% subway growth, was the highest since summer of 2023. Ridership on school open midweek days equate to subway 4.3 million and bus 1.5 million riders. Roughly half of the growth on both subway and bus is due to the improved fare compliance. Half are associated with new riders. Paratransit, as Rachel mentioned, ridership has also continued its long-term upward trend, with ridership up roughly 20% from last year. And this concludes our ridership update. I'll turn it back over to President Critchlow.
Thank you, Bernard, and so happy to have you, a person of your experience, knowledge, joining the team in New York City Transit. We clearly, New York has been a front runner in transportation, the largest transportation network in North America, and we consistently get better. So I'm really grateful to have you as a member of the team. Just one other note that we'll talk about. There are two information items for the board's awareness. More information can be found in the board books. The first item is the LaGuardia Link Q70 Select Bus Service. It's been increased to meet peak demands. The second thing is the 3-train extension from 34th Street. It used to stop at Times Square on the overnights, but we've been bringing better terminal operations and better connectivity to our 3-train riders, so that train itself on the overnight periods has been running to 34th Street rather than requiring a person to transfer to get there from Times Square. So, and with that, I turn it back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I know David has a question. David?
Yeah, I see on page 18 of this booklet a breakout of summonses and arrests. I'd be interested in two ways. First of all, I'd like some geographic definition of where those summonses and arrests are taking place in future. And secondly, now that we're rolling out efforts to stop fare evasion where we're really hemorrhaging, which is in the buses, I'd like a similar kind of explanation of what the fare evasion summonses have been, arrests if there were any, on the bus network. So this, I know we're just still rolling that out in terms of enforcement, but I'd be very interested in seeing how that breaks out. Thank you.
Yes. Demetrius will respond.
So thank you for that, David. You know, I have to give kudos to the team, you know, between Brian and Gabby, our heads of safety and security have done a fantastic job in making sure that we are focusing on the areas where fare evasion is at its peak. The one thing that we have today that we didn't in the past is we have data that points in the direction where we need to focus those resources, those locations where fare evasion is the highest. It is not our goal to give out summonses. It is our goal to improve fare compliance. And so the teams have really been trying to put an effort into getting folks to pay their fares. And the work that we've done with the Fair Fares program continues, you know, taking even some of that stuff and doing it in-house on the subway side so that we can be more a part of the solution has been really big for us. So recognizing that, but we'll certainly work with the team to get you some data on things. But I will say that things change. Like every month we are seeing that the numbers themselves shift. Whereas, you know, we can focus on a particular route this week or next 2 weeks and the metrics change. And so we may have to focus, instead of this particular route, we may shift from the Bronx to Queens. We may shift from Queens to Manhattan. But the team, the Eagle team, has done an amazing job of being malleable, flexing their time, and making the necessary adjustments to make sure that we're targeting. And then on the subway side, it's the same thing. You know, the gate guards and the teams that have been working have had huge improvements in fare evasion rates on both the subway and bus side. So I'm really, really happy with the work that they've done. We'll get you some information.
David has a question. David Mack.
I know in law enforcement we're short men and women, whether it's the MTA police, New York City, all of the police departments, except mine in Nassau. Safest county in the United States, 4 years running. But every time I go through a toll on a bridge or a tunnel, all I see is covered plates. That's where the money is. Now, I took a ride out to the Hamptons, and I counted 8 cars, trucks with covered plates. Seeing a truck bothered me because that's big money. So let's not forget that we're overlooking the money. Kathy's doing a great job, and every time I talk to her, she's right on the ball. Thank you, Kathy. But I want to tell you, we have to address fare evasion. And, you know, the unfortunate thing is, I know you don't want to give summonses to people, but there's only one deterrent that I've seen in 62 years of law enforcement, and that's a uniform. You know, your mom said, son, daughter, don't touch the stove, it's hot. touched it anyhow. You got burnt. Did you touch it again? No. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we're now going to move on to our joint railroads. Just one question. Why do you go first, Rob? Okay. All right. We're moving on. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that introduction, Chair. Good morning, everyone. April ridership remains strong with 6.8 million riders for the month and is 11.6% above last April and represents 88% of 2019's ridership. Year-to-date total ridership is 10% above last year. Commutation ridership rose 10% and non-commutation rose 11.9% as compared to April of last year. And monthly ticket ridership increased 11.6% over April of last year. Now that's almost 300,000 more monthly ticket riders than there was last year, so that's pretty remarkable numbers there. The Mets had their home opener on April 4th. We transported 190 customers to the game, our highest home opener ridership since we've been recording it. We actually have some up-to-date ridership information as well, some post-COVID records. So if you want to get a cup of coffee, we have quite a few.
I have to interrupt. The year-to-date total ridership, 10% over 2024. Do you think, how much of that has to do with congestion pricing? People are out of their cars to the railroad, or you haven't been able to?
We've seen, consistent ridership gains over the last couple of years. We can't really point to an increase specific to congestion pricing. So we've seen historically we've been increasing ridership. Next to. All right. These ridership records actually happened within the last week, May 19th. Average 7-day ridership was 235,396 riders. 7-day ridership was 1,647,771 riders. Average weekday, Monday through Friday ridership now was 272,538. We also had our highest Friday ridership last Friday with 276,688 riders. Now, those two records, the previous record was actually the week before, so a week later we already broke the record. And we had our highest single-day ridership was 285,050 customers for one day. Absolutely incredible. And really, it's a testament to the great service that we're providing. In terms of performance, total on-time performance for the month of April was 97.08%, our second highest April in recorded history. Year-to-date, we're at 96.7%, and the rest of the operations report is found in the book, and I really want to thank our operations group for providing this remarkable service. And in terms of safety, the safety stats are also in the book. However, I do want to mention that we had a 28% reduction in customer injuries from March 24 to March 25. And our employee injury rate also dropped 11% during the same time period. Well, something we've been talking quite a lot lately. Well, it finally started. The Amtrak continuous outage of the East River Tunnel began last Friday evening. They started with Line 1 it's a continuous outage for 10 days. Then they'll switch to Line 2 for the 13-month outage. But I want to thank this board for the resolution they passed, which raised visibility and awareness to the risks associated with this outage. But I want to especially thank Governor Hochul for her support and holding Amtrak accountable. We will also hold Amtrak to their promise of providing more detailed inspection data, staffing additional crews, and providing operational plans to mitigate potential operational disruptions. I will continue to advocate for our customers, Long Island Railroad operations, and those great performance numbers, and will be unapologetic in doing so. Something a little more fun. Summer service, on May 19th, we were accompanied by a couple of our friends here in the crowd. We appreciate that. On May 19th, our annual summer timetables went into effect to enhance summer service for the season and support a number of track work and station projects. Last week on the 22nd, I had the pleasure of seeing off our first Thursday Cannibal of the season, meeting and greeting customers prior to the departure of the 4:07 p.m. train from Penn Station to Montauk as our official kickoff to summer travel season. We are always looking for ways to improve our service. The new timetables feature some great enhancements for summer travels. Just two things I want to highlight. You may recall last year we extended the 5:13 train from Penn Station that normally terminates in Spionk. We extended it to Montauk on Thursdays, when normally it just did so on Fridays. For this summer season, the train will run Monday through Friday from Penn Station to Montauk, providing more travel options for our customers. And for our weekend warriors, we've extended 2 trains from Montauk that normally terminate during the summer season in Jamaica. They'll be extended all the way into Penn Station, so providing for a 1-seat ride. On time for summer service, Babylon Station Rehabilitation Project is also progressing as scheduled. The brand-new west end of the station platform opened to passenger service on Sunday, May 18th, allowing us to once again accommodate 12-car trains throughout the busy summer travel season. Now, this is one of our busiest stations during one of the busiest times of year, so this is really helpful. Come September, we'll go back to 6 cars on the east end with the closure of the east end for the station rehabilitation. So, the west end will be open for 6 cars. Safety is always a strategic priority at the Long Island Railroad. And not only do we promote safety within the Long Island Railroad, we also educate and promote safety within the communities we serve. This month, I helped our corporate safety department hand out awards to the winners of our annual TREX School Safety Contest. Last Thursday, I visited our winner from St. Aidan Catholic School in Williston Park. And tomorrow, I'll be at Eastport Elementary and Syosset High School, so a lot of traveling for me, to honor our other 2 winners. Got to make it fun. The winning designs are being used to create socks in partnership with John's Crazy Socks, a company that supports employment opportunities for individuals with differing abilities. Thank you to Corporate Safety's Linda Katz and Chrisanne Fabio for organizing these TRACS program awards, and to our entire safety team for always making safety a top priority at the Long Island Railroad, and to John's Crazy Socks for being a great partner. John was really the star of the show. He was incredible. All right, and lastly, I want to end my remarks this month by bidding a fond farewell to our Senior Vice President of Operations, Tom Cost. Tom's in the back. He's being shy. Tom is retiring after 30 years of incredible service. Tom possesses a great deal of experience and knowledge that has helped us achieve record levels of on-time performance that we have. I have known Tom for basically all of his 30 years of service and have a tremendous amount of respect for him. Tom has done a great job as Senior Vice President of Operations, and I know he'll do a great job in the next chapter of his life. Thank you for your dedication to the Long Island Railroad, and best of luck to you and your family, Tom, in your retirement. That concludes my remarks, and I'll answer any questions if anyone has any.
Mark?
Thank you. Rob, first of all, the 2 items I just want to mention. First of all, the Babylon Station that you highlighted, that I just left there this morning. I used that as a regular station, and it was a fantastic program on schedule, and things are running smoothly. So I just want to compliment you and your entire team for sticking to the schedule and construction as well. So it's working out well. The second issue I just want to raise with you is a concern that I have regarding the 20-year needs assessment. Something was included there, which was the potential outlook for the electrification of the Port Jefferson branch. And we had what we believe was a real gift. Suffolk County offered the MTA property 126 acres of land of the former Lawrence Aviation property to transfer over that could be used for a train yard if and when that line is ever electrified. The cost is $10 for 126 acres. And if the MTA wants, if has a problem with that, I will give an additional $10, and I think Sammy Chu will as well, to have this happen. Okay. But this has been a frustrating process because my understanding is the MTA requires an easement to make this deal take place from the New York State Department of Transportation. And negotiations and conversations have been going on with the Department of Transportation, and the contract was supposed to be concluded for that $10 deal. And it's been extended, I believe, twice. And that expires, and the deal may not happen by the end of next month. Surely the people are frustrated. County Executive Ed Romaine wrote a letter to DOT 6 months ago asking what their concerns, what the issues were, and why they would not proceed, and why they were dragging their feet. That letter of 6 months ago has gone unanswered, and no reply has been received. And the state legislature, I understand, to bring you up to date, the Assembly Representative of Port Jefferson has introduced legislation to force DOT to move forward and grant an easement. And the Senate is also being talked about, so that legislation may happen before the end of session. And I hope that's not necessary. And on top of that, the environmental advocates in the area are pressing and calling for media attention, and they're going to be holding a press event, I understand, next week to advocate that this move forward. Personally, I've not received an explanation as to why DOT will not move forward. I've heard that they were late in the game, that they were not contacted by the county and others. We have extended the deadline of the contract since then. It hasn't happened. And I don't know, some of the rationale that I've heard have proved to be unfounded as to their explanations. And so I'm concerned that this deal will not happen, and the contract will expire. The deadline was extended to next month. And Rob, I'm just bringing you up to date what I know, and I don't know what's going on as far as conversations you may be having, but I know that you've been very supportive. Your team has been open and honest with this, and I'm sure the frustration that I have, your team has as well. So I don't know if you have anything to share, or I don't want to put you on the spot either, but,
Rob,
but
you
I
gotta
just
help
want you to
him.
know what I'm feeling, so.
I've never seen Mark so frustrated. No, seriously, with all sincerity.
No, let me first comment on the Babylon work. Absolutely incredible work, and thank you to our construction development partners. They've done a remarkable job. Like, as I said, that's one of our busiest stations, both in terms of ridership and train traffic. And you know, it's been a great partnership in terms of us helping with resources and providing track time for them to do the work. So it's really a remarkable project that we're very excited about. It was one of my priorities upon assuming this position. In terms of Lawrence Aviation, we share your frustration, and we thank the county executive and the county for their patience and their advocacy for this transfer to take place. But you know, it has to be understood, the MTA, the Long Island Railroad, cannot take the land without having all of the land. We cannot begin construction without some type of ownership or some type of permanent easement to be able to construct a yard. It doesn't make sense to have a north and south parcel and in the middle not yours and not being able to perform any construction. I actually have had a conversation with the DOT commissioner within the last week or so. I can say it was helpful. We explained our position. She understood it. She understood that there's needs for this property, and there's there's dual needs. They also need it for a project that they have slotted for it as well. But I explained to her that we cannot proceed with constructing a yard without total ownership of the parcels of land. So that's the latest from our position.
Okay, and also in the county executive's letter that went unanswered, the county offered DOT to pay for any future need. They would pay the construction costs if they decided to put some type of highway through that system in the future. So I don't know why that would be a problem, but here's the $10 if you need it. Okay. Thank you.
Stop. No, it seems like state DOT has to figure this whole thing out. No? Paige? Anyone? Anyway. Okay, we move on. 2 questions, one from Andrew, one from Randy. Yes, Andrew.
Thanks, Hader. Rob, Have you gotten any statistics, or do you have any to show the added ridership within the city limits since City Ticket originated?
The latest ridership figures that I saw was about 24% of total ridership was associated with the city ticket. Absolutely booming addition to our ridership. Great value for our customers, so it's been a real benefit to them.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Randy?
Thank you. Long, happy, and healthy retirement, Tom. Question to Rob, did you ever get an answer from Amtrak on them assigning a project manager to the East River Tunnel?
As I mentioned, the governor has pushed on Amtrak to provide certain information. They're working on it, and we will continue to advocate for our customers and for detailed information, not only leading as we begin the process, right, what they've done, but also throughout the project, and that leads to the project team as well, that we want to see specific progress reports on how they're progressing to ensure that it's not delayed and return to service as scheduled.
Thank you, Rob. We moved on to Justin.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. Before I begin with my normal remarks, I would like to take a moment to thank Metro-North and MTA employees for their hard work during the NJT strike. Disruptions like these are never easy, but thanks to the hard work of our team, we planned, stepped up where needed, and made sure that our West of Hudson riders had reliable options they could count on. I would also be remiss if I didn't thank Randy Glucksman, who was out there helping us as well. So Rob wasn't the only one that had a special guest joining him this month. All right, moving on to the normal program. Ridership. It continues to increase on Metro-North. In April, we continued to provide safe and reliable service with on-time performance at 98.3%. And year-to-date on-time performance is also at 98.3%. So regarding ridership, we averaged 220,000 weekday riders in April, which is up 5% from March and 8% higher than last April. Ridership has remained strong in early May with robust Yankees ridership and strong weekend discretionary ridership. And on Tuesday, May 20th, we set a new post-COVID ridership record with nearly 256,000 riders, which represents 89% of our pre-COVID ridership. This beat our old record, which was on October 9, 2024, by over 5%. We did all this while achieving an on-time performance of over 99%. And this past Memorial Day, we also saw our highest single-day ridership for the holiday since the pandemic. Ridership was up over 34% from the last Memorial Day. I would also like to take a second to update the committee on the success we have seen with our New Haven Line Super Express trains. You will remember on March 30th, we introduced riders with faster service from New Haven on 6 of our Super Express trains. Well, travel times are down and ridership is up. We've seen an increase of over 10% with ridership on these 6 trains. All right, so ridership, it's also up in the Bronx. Thanks to safe and reliable service, programs like the City Ticket, and continued investment in the borough, 7 stations across the Hudson and Harlem lines are seeing strong ridership gains. Tremont and Melrose lead the growth with increases of more than 100%, and ridership at 5 other Bronx stations has increased up to 61%. This summer, we will also begin partnering with MTA C&D to begin upgrades at BG, Williamsbridge, and Woodlawn, making these Bronx stations fully ADA accessible. We kicked off this season's Connect with Us on the Hudson Line at Cortlandt Station, which serves a key connection point for Westchester County, Cross River travelers, and others from across the region. These direct engagements with our riders provide valuable feedback for our team and reinforces our commitment to our riders. Gathering feedback, listening to their experiences, and working to improve our service are important components on how we continuously improve. And Cortlandt was the first of a monthly series of Connect with Us events. And following last year's successful pilot, weekend ferry service between Haverstraw and Ossining has officially resumed, making it easier for communities on both sides of the river to stay connected. The hourly service runs Saturdays and Sundays, giving West of Hudson residents a convenient, car-free link to Metro-North and offering riders on both sides of the river a chance to visit either Ossining or Haverstraw's waterfront or local businesses. The ferry runs on weekends from 10 to 7:30 and will continue until October 12th. This spring, we welcome the Fatality Analysis of Maintenance Away Employees and Signalman Committee, known as FAMES. FAMES was created by the Federal Railroad Administration in 2009 to study the causes of roadway worker fatalities and recommend practicable steps to prevent them. Since its inception, FAMES has visited major railroads across the country, but over its 16 years has never visited a commuter railroad until now. This visit highlights our status in the industry when it comes to safety, and we were proud to host the group. It was a great opportunity to learn from one another and find ways to further improve safety for our employees. Along with FAMES, we held our first Safety Focus Day of the year. No meetings, just the field and safety. At locations across Metro North, teams stepped away from their regular work to focus on safety. They talked through real risks, seasonal conditions, and other safety topics. These were direct, honest conversations led by management, union representatives, and the Office of System Safety, all working together with the people who know the job the best, our employees. Safety Focus Day is yet another example of our ongoing commitment to safety. That concludes the remarks. I would also like to congratulate Tom Cost on his retirement.
Thank you, Justin. Any questions for Justin? Okay. Before we move on to Kathy, I forgot to do a safety report. So Inspector Stephen Moriello is here today to give us a transit safety report. Morning, Inspector.
Good morning. Good morning, Chair Mohaltas, President Critchlow, members of the board. I hope everyone had an enjoyable Memorial Day weekend while remembering and reflecting on those men and women of the United States Armed Forces who gave their lives in the service of our country. I know it hits home for many of us, especially our agencies have lost members from our ranks during their military service. In front of you are the transit crime figures for the month of April. Last month, the subway system saw 152 crimes, reflecting in a 7.8 increase compared to previous April. While this increase is worth noting, when looking at the first 4 months of the year, we've still seen a crime reduction of 7.8%. When we compare April's numbers compared to March, we see a decrease of 12.6% for April. Because in March, we had 174 crimes. We had a decrease. Compared to April's 152, so we have 12.6. Last month's increase in crime during was largely driven by increase in robberies, which were up 36%, and felony assaults, which were up 40%. Now, when looking at felony assaults, we see a significant portion of over a third of those incidents are on our employees, both MTA and NYPD. 21.4% of felony assaults in April on NYPD officers who are out there doing the work that our riders deserve, and 14.3% were MTA employees who are out there doing the work that our riders depend on. This is unacceptable, but we're doing our part to make sure every one of these cases is personally reviewed and enhanced by a member of our executive team. We remain committed in the safety and security of our subway system, and our officers remain dialed in. As we approach the summer months, we will ensure our crime reduction strategies shift accordingly, always keeping the safety of our riders and employees top of our mind. That concludes my remarks.
Inspector, thank you. Can you just go back to the robberies? Were they in a specific borough or were they system-wide? What trends do we see?
So in that month, it was system-wide. We had 30 robberies. Of the 30 robberies, 22 we have arrests on. And then of the 22, we have 32 arrests. What we saw for the month of April, and now May, you look at May and the year, we're down significantly in robberies. What we saw was trending from what was happening citywide, some patterns of young groups of youth coming down, doing some robberies. We made numerous arrests with that. And then also we had a couple of patterns where they did more than one and we caught them. We apprehended them right away.
Okay.
So they did like something topside, then they came down to the system and they did a robbery and we made an apprehension.
And is pickpocketing consistent of robbery? That's
a different crime, pickpocket.
Okay.
We're down for the year-to-date in grand larcenies and pickpocket also.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any other questions for Inspector? If not, thank you, Inspector, and I apologize for skipping over you before. All right. We're now going to hear from Kathy on Bridges and Tunnels May update.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
Oh,
Before
I'm sorry,
we move forward.
Blanca.
No.
I
It's okay.
apologize.
It's not. It's regarding President Vanashek's presentation. If you
Yes.
don't mind, I just
No,
had
no,
a
no, please.
late question. If we could go back to that particular slide with respect to the Bronx ridership increase, I just wanted to clarify for my understanding, and perhaps President Vanashek mentioned it. It's the ridership when compared to pre-COVID.
Yes.
% increase from 2018.
That's correct. It's pre-COVID.
Okay. Thank you. That's. I just wanted a clarification on that. Thank you so much.
Could I just ask President Vanashek one
Yes,
follow-up
Andy. Yes, Andrew.
On that list, you really don't have many Hudson Line stations. Have those improved as well?
No, we haven't seen numbers like we've seen on the other lines.
Okay, thanks.
Any questions for Justin or Rob or Inspector before we move on to Kathy? Okay, all right, thank you. Kathy, go ahead.
Great, thank you, Chair, and good morning still. I'm not sure. Okay, here we go. Nope. Yes, okay, I got it. On May 12th, B&T was honored to welcome Chair Jan Lieber and Construction and Development President Jamie Torres Springer, along with bike and accessibility supporters, to celebrate the RFK Bridge's newly constructed ADA-compliant bike ped ramp from the Manhattan span onto Randall's Island. B&T's bridges serve as critical connections between boroughs, and improvements like this, along with similar projects at the Henry Hudson and Cross Bay bridges, are important upgrades which advance the MTA's mission of supporting more biking, walking, and micromobility across our system. This month, B&T is proud to celebrate milestone anniversaries at the Hugh L. Carey Tunnel, which connects Brooklyn to Lower Manhattan and turns 75 on May 25th, and our youngest bridge, the Cross Bay Veterans Memorial, which today marks 55 years of service to Queens and the Rockaways. These well-traveled crossings provide critical access between communities, but also serve as important links in the regional network. I encourage anyone passing through Grand Central Terminal to view historical exhibits spotlighting both crossings in the Vanderbilt Passage window spaces. As we approach summer storm season, annual flood door testing at the Hugh L. Carey and Queens Midtown tunnels commenced in May and will continue through June during overnight low-volume traffic periods. These doors were installed in 2017 as part of the agency's long-term flood mitigation program. Turning to toll evasion enforcement, as we move into our second year of targeted operations, enforcement by the multi-agency task force has yielded almost 1,100 arrests, more than 47,000 summonses, and nearly 4,600 vehicles towed. And those identified are responsible for more than $55 million collectively owed to all of these agencies. The task force now includes 14 partner agencies, with the recent addition of Suffolk County Police Department and the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation Police. It should be abundantly clear to anyone who has observed the uniform presence at these frequent deployments, we remain committed to eradicating ghost plate practices. Officers are out there looking to stop any vehicle with an intentionally obscured or counterfeit license plate. As I will continue to remind everyone, don't let this be you and pay your fair share. We are always actively seeking to secure new tools to prevent toll evasion, recover toll revenue, reduce crime, and improve safety at TBTA facilities and within the congestion relief zone. Jumping off from the successes achieved last year by Governor Hochul in the budget, we are pleased our partner in the legislature, Senator Andrew Gonardis, has introduced a bill to allow the New York State Department of Motor Vehicles to impose a VIN block for persistent toll violators, which will close what we call the friends and family re-registration loophole in the current law. The bill, if passed, would also add the MTA police and TBTA peace officers to the entities which can enforce civil judgments, increasing the capacity to enforce. We as an agency are already aggressively tackling toll evasion, but these tools would be a welcome addition. We thank all our partners and will keep you updated on our progress. Now, on behalf of the entire B&T family, we bid farewell to an employee who embodies the very best of our agency, Vice President of Maintenance Charlie Passarella, who is retiring after 36 years of truly exemplary service. Charlie began his career in 1989 as a maintainer before moving into managerial roles such as security manager, chief maintenance officer, and culminating in vice president. Through the years, Charlie's full plate has included responsibility for a wide range of daily operations, as well as prep and response to extreme weather conditions and emergencies. He was always quick to credit his resourceful team for meeting challenges such as 9/11, Superstorm Sandy, and the COVID pandemic, among many others. As a natural leader, His support and mentorship have guided not only the 350-plus maintenance employees under his supervision, but everyone else at B&T who needs a helping hand. Charlie is always generous with his time, and he will be missed. We wish Charlie the very best as he assumes the role of full-time grandfather and enjoys well-earned free time with his wife Karen and their family. Charlie couldn't be here today because he's celebrating with the employees at the Crossbrae Bridge with the 55th anniversary. So congratulations, Charlie. And finally, there are no procurements this month, and this concludes B&T's report.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Kathy? Nothing, okay. All right, this was painless, huh? You think? I don't know. Okay, well, Rob, I know Rob's like, that's it, no more. Okay, so we're moving on to some administrative items of the Joint Committee. The April Joint Committee meetings have been distributed for each individual committee. Are there any omissions or revisions? Andrew? Nothing, wow, ding, ding. Okay, the minutes are approved and distributed as, not even as amended. Okay, I guess I don't even have to take a motion. Do I need a motion to approve the minutes? Second. Thank you, Dr. Rizzo. All those in favor? Aye, against, great, motion passed. Thank you. Okay, if there are no other further actions or questions, I'll ask for motion to conclude the hearings. Motion, second. Thank you very much, everyone. We take a 20-minute break, Paige, and then we'll come back for our board meeting. Thank you.
You guys stay?